Okay, so this is a podcast experiment, or a video blog experiment, I guess. It's probably the most selfish video blog because I'm making it literally for me. And somebody else watches it, cool. If not, that's fine. I'm gonna watch it. I'll be like, you'll just watch the views tick as I watch it every once in a while to remind myself how awesome my friends are. And so how this came about, Heather, is we talked about this, but like I was doing a hike and I was doing this gratefulness exercise, and everybody is always telling me I should like write a book, which, like I'll get around to that, I guess. But as the gratefulness exercise, I was like, well, if I did write a book, what would I like? Who would I thank in the acknowledgement section? And I literally started crying like a baby on this walk because I realized, like, not to be cheesy, but like I'm really wealthy in the relationships I have in my life. And as I connect different people, other people remind me that like, wow, Curtis, you really know some really remarkable human beings. And I know a lot of them. And so I wanted to like memorialize that in these video blogs, like I said, selfishly for me, so that when I'm having a bad day, I can just go talk to Heather if she's not available like this, right? And so I chose you as my first guest mainly because you're one of my best friends in the world. And then also you more about like the video stuff than I do. So you're my very attractive guinea pig.
Well, I'm super honored.
Yeah, thank you. And I wanted this to be like super informal, and really like it's for me. So like just keep that in mind when you're talking to me. But I thought like maybe just talking about you and I just kind of bantering about to start like how we met is kind of interesting, or the like 4 times we met.
Yeah, that's quite the story. I don't know if we ever actually really pinpointed the real beginning, because it happened so many times before.
Yeah, I want to say it had to be like at a conference the first time, a tech conference, and I think I was at Mirage and you were at Integralis. I think that's probably that. But like, how long ago was that? I mean, that was like
100 years.
Well,
2012, 2011, 10, 8.
Well, so let's see. No, because I was at Mirage Networks, like 2006 to 2008, maybe something like that.
Yeah, 8.
I think I started at Fortinet in like 2008 or something like that. Yeah. So it would have been like 2006. So we've known each other.
Yeah, that's right at the beginning of when I was at Integralis.
Right. And I don't want to tell the whole story, but like, obviously, like we became closer and closer because we kept running into each other professionally, and the universe is like, hey, you two.
Yeah, be friends.
But, yeah, tell like the follow on how we ran into each other again and again.
I think we worked together definitely more closely when you were at Fortinet, when we did some projects for Global Crossing, or was it Level 3 by then? Anyway, during that
it was Global Crossing, but it was like right before they did all that. Yeah.
So we did that, and then I remember that was the first time I learned about all of your motorcycling, because I think you were on a trip. I think you were in Phoenix on part of your motorcycle trip, and you were talking about how you were camping and staying in hotels.
Was that the time when we took them out to dinner at some fancy steakhouse? We took all the executives out to dinner at some fancy steakhouse. Was that the same? I think I remember.
There was a sushi one, I thought, but no. We've shared a lot of dinners. It's hard to say.
Yeah, and I bought a lot of executive dinners of various kinds. Yeah. So then we ran into each other then. What's that?
I said, imagine if you had all that money back from all the executive dinners. Could start a charity.
Right. Well, obviously it wasn't my money most of the time. Now it is. Now it's my money.
It feels different, right? It's a little different when it's your money.
Yeah, we keep going. Then we ran into each other again.
Yeah, so we did that, and then we probably ran into each other a couple of times over the course of that, and then it was quiet for a while. And then I went to go work with Security on Demand,
Well,
and
so was it NTT?
What?
That it was NTT.
Yeah, so into NTT bought Integralis in late 08, early 09.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So it was somewhere in the middle of that, but I can't remember if it was NTT that you were under when we were at Mirage. But then yeah, and then you went to work for Security on
in
Demand.
Mirage, it was Integralis. And then for Fortinet, it started under Integralis, and then the acquisition happened, and then our whole partnership fell apart on account of Level 3 wasn't super psyched about partnering with NTT.
Yeah, imagine
I
that.
don't know. Weird. Strange.
Telecom infighting.
I know, weird, right? Why don't you want to partner with your competitors?
Yeah.
Seems like
Yep.
a great idea. But anyway, so yeah, so that kind of fell apart for those guys. And then I think we probably ran into each other here and there, but we didn't have any work together for a long time. And then Tom reached out to me for some help with some of his stuff when he was setting up Scout Swarm. And so I became peripherally aware of what he was doing. I had no idea he was doing anything with you. And then I asked him to come to San Diego and see Security on Demand to talk about a partnership. And between the time that I asked him to do that and when the meeting happened, your company acquired Scout Swarm and you showed up.
And this is like one of those. This is one of those like like universe is so small vortex things that happens because not only did I have a relationship with Tom Richards, even before we bought the company. You had a relationship with Tom Richards because you worked with him at Integralis years ago.
Yeah.
I had a relationship with Peter Bybee because I had partnered with him at Mirage and when he was still called Network Vigilance and then became Security on Demand. So, I mean, just all these different people from different places in my life and in your life, like convened in San Diego that day. And I do remember going to dinner, and I think you brought Raj with you, and was that same trip?
I think Roger was a follow-up trip. I think the first time either it was just the three of us or Joel Holland came the first.
Yeah. Yeah, but I do remember the dinner with Raj specifically, and I remember just about you specifically.
That's another awesome human.
I know. I should have him on here. I should have him on here. I just remember that dinner though, because I remember there was like something in my brain crossed a threshold with you. I don't remember specifically what it was or what you said, but something at that dinner made me realize obviously we should be working together professionally because the universe won't let us not do that. We keep showing up, but I think it was at that dinner that I'm like, I really like this person as a human being, and I want her in my life beyond just work. And so then we just became friends, and then so it's
Are you sure it wasn't just my fantastic taste in wine that matched yours? I think it might have just been.
It certainly didn't help or it didn't hurt, to have that also. And
that's like a big turning point.
Yeah, and then just we'll come back to this kind of in the end, but like how much stuff you and I have been through either together or individually, and how much we've changed as humans.
Oh yeah.
Over those years is crazy. I mean, we both were married in the beginning and we're both not married anymore. And we both lived in one place and neither one of us live in that place anymore. We both went through physical transformations and good times. Talk a little bit about your family.
Oh yeah. Wow. Talk about another thing that's been on a transformation since forever. I think, gosh, I'm trying to quantify because you met my kids for a long time. You hadn't met my kids because we always met professionally. And I think when you first met Ollie was shortly after he came out as trans and we went to Yosemite.
It was before, It was right before. It was
Right before.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, oh man, that trip was so much fun. Ollie still talks about it. And that
Yeah.
place we stayed
And
in.
I still watch that video every once in a while where they remember
Oh, with the weatherman.
the day where all the weather people said it's going to be this terrible storm, and then nobody showed up at the park but us, and it was
Yep.
beautiful. And
It was
like I
the
remember
best
that
day.
video. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then the next, was it a different trip? Because did we go to Yosemite twice or was it somewhere else where you had to park the Jeep basically on top of a trash can because there was no parking?
That was Yosemite. Yeah.
Right?
That,
Oh,
but
was
that
it
was
the
that was the previous day. I think we
yeah,
went 2 days.
trip?
The same
Yeah.
trip. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that was pretty good. So yeah, we had such a good time. And
Yeah. So
then
tell the audience, which is probably just going to be me, but maybe other people, about the Avasquatto.
oh man, the
And just
Avasquatto.
basically about your family, but we called it
Yeah.
Squatto. Yeah.
So the Avasquatto was born out of, we were sitting in an airport and kind of all, it was a busy waiting, kind of waiting by the gate situation. And everybody, we couldn't sit next to each other. So we were all kind of like within eye shot, but not next to each other. And it was when Bitmoji was super popular. And we found the avocado one, and I made an avocado Bitmoji of myself and sent it to the kids and labeled it Mamacado. And they both busted out laughing. And then they kind of renamed themselves they came up with the avocados, and then they renamed our group chat to the Avasquatto. And so it
And
was a thing.
I was honored to become a member, an
Yeah, you're
honorary
you're
member of the Avasquatto.
member.
I think
Yep.
I still am under that designation in like some of our shared streaming accounts.
Oh my gosh. I bet. Probably, yeah. If you go into Netflix or something, there's probably an Avasquatto account there for you.
Yeah, and okay, so just in case other people do actually watch this, talk about your job and what you do just a little bit.
Oh yeah, so this is fun. I actually, so you guys, Group Sense was probably one of my first customers for AHA when I actually launched it. So after I departed from Security on Demand, I kept getting people needing stuff. Imagine that. Group Sense being one of them. With like, I think I helped you guys with some website stuff and
I remember.
that RSA event that we did at that, was
Yeah,
it like a piano bar or
a
something?
cabana. Yeah,
No,
I
no,
was
no,
like,
before the cabana or after the
oh
cabana was
yeah,
the thing.
that's
This
where
was a,
we had the sushi in the bar in the loft of that bar.
yeah,
Yep, yep.
yeah, yeah. So right as I was getting started, you guys were one of my first paying clients, and I just kind of stuck with it ever since. You guys are my longest client, which is pretty cool. But I've been really lucky to kind of,
So you've run like marketing initiatives and programs for like some of the biggest companies in the world, and then also like almost like paradoxically for some like small startups. You've really done the gamut. Yeah,
yeah, from one person startups even last year actually,
yeah,
the Linda and Audie group, and
yep.
some of the smaller. I'm trying to think. Some of my smaller clients only have like 3, 5 full-time employees, and then,
But
maybe
then you
50.
also do it for like Palo Alto networks. So like,
Exactly. You
it's
know what? I really like it gives you perspective. I love like the scrappiness and the camaraderie that comes in a startup culture that's built properly. But the perspective that you get from having access to the newest tools and technology and the kind of all of the analysts without having to, pay them, kind of just being able to consume research and hear what's going on in the industry and access to things like best practices for how to build customer advisory programs. That's stuff that gives me a perspective to take to startups that I don't
yeah,
think most marketers have. It kind of like most startup marketers you kind of have a bit of a formula that you follow. You kind of are like, I'm going to go online and, kind of focus on getting people to the website. And you're very you feel very limited in terms of what's available because you're so constrained with funds and resources. And for me, I like to translate a program that costs a lot of money and is resource intensive to kind of like a scrappy startup sized
Right.
model. And
It's almost
that's
like
really
your
fun.
larger enterprise clients are like product development or
I
like the
know.
lab in which yeah, that's kind of cool.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so how do I take this big thing and scale it for a much smaller, more agile environment?
Right.
Because the big companies, they move kind of slowly because there's approvals and there have to be for a lot of reasons, but they have a lot of process and procedure. And it's like if you take all that away, you can often replicate what they do really impactfully for smaller companies. And to me, that's
Awesome.
like the coolest thing I've been able to learn in 10 years of doing this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I think it's obvious you get excited about your job. Is like, tell us what else you get excited about in life. And us, by the way, is still me. Like I'm the only person watching this, but
Obviously, my friends, absolutely. Curtis being on the top of that list.
oh,
I keep this circle small because I don't know, I'm selective.
yeah. Well,
Only high quality humans are allowed in the inner circle.
right.
So, yeah, passionate about that and my family
Mhm.
and cooking. Love
Yeah.
to cook. Some of my favorite, okay, not gonna lie, I love to cook for people. So I think one of my favorite things was when I stayed in your apartment one time when you were traveling, and I came to town to be the resident group sense adult for the week. And I realized that while you have a very healthy approach to life, your culinary choices were lacking. And
I mean, I was living like the bro bachelor life and
I
I
know
was working 24 hours a day. So like
yeah, you
simple.
had a fine assortment of whey proteins and
Mhm.
cacao nibs. I will say you had a great smoothie bar selection.
Right.
But
Exactly.
outside of that, I just was like, this man needs some vegetables. And I think I think I made chicken soup and
Yeah,
beef
you did like
stew.
the freezer roulette of soups for me.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
chicken
God. I
curry.
was so spoiled.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
I
I
love
love
to
it.
do that. Do that for Alexis when I go visit. I make a giant like witch's cauldron of chicken soup. It's her favorite, but she won't make it herself. And
Nice.
she eats it for months after I leave, basically until I come back.
I love it. I love it. Yeah,
Yeah, we did.
I definitely benefited from your cooking. And the other thing you would do when you would stay in my apartment when I'm not there is you would organize things,
Oh
which
yeah.
I think some people would be annoyed if somebody was like going through their shit, but I like and totally loved that you would organize the drawers and
Who doesn't love when the sheets are folded properly?
yep, yep.
Like there's really not anything better than that in the world.
Nice.
I'm pretty passionate about things being orderly. I guess we could say
So
that.
amongst
On
your
the list.
friends, so me aside, amongst your other friends, um, like what are you most known for? Like what when they think about Heather, what do they?
What am I known for? Oh my goodness. Definitely the cooking. Probably my discerning taste in wine. Um,
I think you
being
probably. No, I'm not speaking for myself, but I'm thinking like objectively, like you probably are getting a little bit known for your fitness as well. I think.
yeah, I think people kind of have come to not be surprised if I say I'm, gonna go do a half marathon in a national park the day
Right.
after a conference.
Right. In which
That's
we've
it.
done a few of those, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we have. Um, just as COVID is getting ready to shut the world down, I feel like we got in one last hurrah
Right.
epically with that, right? When we did the Zion one.
That's the one where I
That's the
won in
one.
my age group, but didn't stay for the award.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that?
Talk about somebody. Yeah.
They called me and they're like, "Why aren't you here to get your award?" And I'm
I
like,
know we didn't get a
"It's
souvenir. Or
cold."
anything. I was freezing. That was unacceptable how cold it was at the end. But I would
Um.
say that I did just sign up for one of those mud runs with a friend here in
Oh, really?
June.
I
Yep.
did the Spartan one once, the Spartan
Yeah.
Sprint, I think, and it was in wintergreen. in West Virginia, and it was running up a ski slope over and over again. I did enjoy
Oh,
it. But it was hard.
yeah, this is one, I think this is more meant for like women to just like misbehave and jump around in the mud. They don't have pictures of the course, but it's in Mechanicsville. And I'm told that it has inflatable slides and 17 obstacles and a lot of mud. So I think I'm going to probably go to the Goodwill and buy a special outfit that
Right.
I throw away immediately after. And
Right. I bet.
maybe
Yeah.
save like my next pair of running shoes instead of recycling them right away. I think I'm going to wear them one last time and throw them out at the end of that
Right.
race.
Right. I think I had to do that for this because it rained the whole time we were doing that too. So I think
Oh
I ended
man.
up throwing away the clothes and the shoes I wore. So uh, in the interest of time, I'm going to try to wrap it up soon, but I want to just ask you, like, tell me something that like you think in your life that like transformed you as a person.
Hmm. Well, the obvious one was being a mom. I was on, I mean, I don't know what path I would have been on if I didn't have kids when I was 21. That was a whole life shift that, I don't think I didn't go through high school or the beginning of college with that on my plan. And I think just kind of having this, like my initial reaction, because I wasn't ready. I wasn't pregnant on purpose when I was 21.
Right.
Uh, like it changed my life because the only thing that I could think about was like my child, my daughter wasn't going to suffer the consequence of my action. And so I had to
It's a
step it
lot of
up and be
pressure.
a way older adult than I was.
Right.
Um, I did that pretty well with the
Yeah, you
support
did.
of my family
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, but you were at that time you were, when you were raising them and they were younger, you were also like making huge strides in your career and
Yeah.
traveling a lot. And it's amazing um what you
Yeah. It was
accomplished.
crazy transformation, honestly. But I couldn't, at one, like at the beginning, it was a thought, it was a conscious choice.
Mhm.
And I went from before I worked in cybersecurity in marketing, I was a grant writer and I loved what I did, but I didn't make a lot of money.
Right.
And kind of was looking around and I was like, I am solely responsible for these two kids financially and they have to have opportunities and I'm not going to be able to provide them in this job. So that's
Right.
how I ended up changing my career, which changed my life.
Yep.
Like I got hired. Nobody at Integralis should have ever hired me for the job that I was hired for. Because I was 25 years old and I didn't even know what marketing was. I didn't know what a firewall was. I actually thought they were saying fireball in the interview.
I think
But
that's like booze, isn't it? Fireball.
yeah, exactly. But I was 25. Like that's what I
Right.
knew. Yeah, and when I got the offer and it was for double what I was making at the food pantry writing grants, I was like, well, I guess we're figuring this out now.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky.
Isn't that
I
kind of
should,
like a isn't that kind of like
yeah,
a metaphor for life though? Is just like kind of jump in with both feet and figure it
yeah,
out. Um,
it is actually. I have saved somewhere the cover of the New Yorker one month. It was just jump and it's a piece of art and it's just like a person kind of jumping off into a pool. And it's like my favorite thing
I love
ever. And I
that.
think about everything good that's ever happened in my life. And it was because I did it with both feet. Like, I mean, the
Yeah.
kid thing, the changing career.
You didn't half-ass anything, including like
I
since I
didn't
knew you,
know.
like the fitness
Yeah.
transformation. I mean,
Yeah.
I think anybody who knows me knows that I'm kind of an intense dude when it comes to that stuff, and you kept up.
Yeah. Super fun.
Yeah, you
But
kept
I
up.
mean, I think if you're going to do something, do it or do something that inspires you. Like, don't do something you're not inspired to do fully.
Yeah,
And I'm careful. Like, I don't do everything. I don't
yeah,
take every
you're
opportunity.
choosing. Yeah,
I am. I'm choosy about my friends. I'm choosy about how I spend my time. I'm choosy about my social media and what I watch,
yeah,
what I let in. And I think kind of like for me, that's been a big part of who I am as a person is just being ruthless about what I let into my life and making it be mostly positive.
that's awesome. And you know what? Well, that final question I was going to ask was like, tell us some wisdom or make us smarter. And you just did that already. So you kind of did it
Yeah,
organically.
that's my wisdom. Be
Yeah.
ruthless about what you let in, because what you let in really shapes who you are as a person. It shapes your thoughts, and
Yeah.
your
And
thoughts shape.
I don't remember who said this, but there's a saying that I'm sure everybody's heard, that like you are sort of the amalgamation of the 5 people you spend most time
Yeah.
with. And I think I'm genuinely a better person because I spend as much time as I spend with you. So
Likewise, 100% true. My 5 people are amazing. And I actually do think, based on that theory, I should speak more Spanish than I do. But that's on the
well, you get to
key.
practice that tonight with your guest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Veronica. Yep.
Well, thank
That's
you
the
for
truth.
doing this, and hopefully you'll help me edit this so we both sound smarter than we actually are and look better than we actually
Absolutely.
do.
Yeah. We might
All
have
right.
to bring in some deep fakes, but we'll get it done.
All right. Thank you, Heather.